Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCGFAM show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Let me know in the comments. So today is a pretty short, to-the-point episode, but it kind of drags on a little. Not really drags on, it expands on. I just invented something there. It expands on into some other stuff, but JGP1866 had a question about foliar spraying Microbe Life products. So we got the man himself from Microbe Life, Carl Gorka, also our ambassador of Quan here at OCG, so he did a remote interview with us. Now, so watch that. We'll talk about that, and then I'll talk to you after. Okay, we're here with Carl. Carl, what's going on?
Hi, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, Carl. You seem very calm today.
It's a beautiful day in Klamath Falls.
You're in Klamath Falls? Sorry.
I am. I'm at Basic Indoor Gardening.
Basic Indoor Gardening? And it looks like they have the nectar, and I would assume the Microbe Life as well?
They do. They're rocking both lines, and they're even rocking and rolling the two different sizes of the one shot.
Hurly Murly, Shirley, that's awesome. So, you know, I got you here for a question, though, Carl. I'd love to chat with you, but I have a question. Now, this is in regard to the Microbe Life products. It's from JGP1866. Are you ready?
I think I am.
Is it okay to spray it on, the product, is it okay to spray it on blooms of vegetable and berry plants?
Oh, absolutely, Bob.
Okay.
Absolutely, positively. Never a problem.
So, I guess some of the issues with that would be, I guess the stuff just absorbs into it, and it's no big deal.
No, because as we've said in some earlier videos, within 40 minutes to an hour, full absorption into that plant tissue, inside and out. It doesn't matter if you're foliar feeding it, soil drenching, it still interacts with that same time frame as far as addressing the absorption.
So you wouldn't, if you were, this is with berries, vegetables, that sort of thing, you wouldn't avoid spraying it on the blooms or on the vegetables. Does it actually do anything with the vegetables themselves, or is it just on the foliage of the plant? Who knows?
You know, you could, because it's environmentally and human safe, either or.
Okay.
And that's, you know, remember the fruits and vegetable, the leaves are so broad, you know, and very resilient. I mean, so any time of the year, it's really not so much of an issue at all.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, though, because some of the people, a lot of the people that we work with here on the show that are watching the show, grow a flower that they actually consume the flower itself. So when you're doing that, I assume there might be some issues maybe with mold or those kinds of things. Or are there any issues when you have going into flower with a consumable flower?
Well, if you're going outdoor and you're dealing with the cooler temperatures of late summer, early fall, absolutely, because you can't control that. Unlike indoor, where you're regulating the temperature, the air circulation, the humidity. I mean, you're in control of the weather pattern.
Okay.
Outside, you know, if the guys are getting an early harvest or they're pushing their plants into early bloom, and you still have heat, you still have the air circulation, I mean, you're pretty golden. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Persons are worried about the density or looseness of the flower.
Right.
And cooler temperatures, if there's moisture in there, you're going to create some mold.
Okay. So...
and you have at least, you know, 50% of your audience or more that will never touch their flower with any spray. They don't like the foliar.
So that's
it's in a bloom like that.
So that's a not unreasonable personal preference.
Right.
So, but we're talking about moisture of any kind that can be affected to it, not the Microbe Life in particular. The Microbe Life, not a problem with it. It's the moisture that it contains that can be a problem to create mold.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's anything, just
not to give a spiff out on Armory, but the Blacksmith Armory is your perfect friend there.
Really? In what way?
Well, you know, Armory is of course, now that you stock, fully is the Streptomyces is back on the label. Okay. Now, the specifics on that Streptomyces, like you've seen in the Forge product of the past, in Actinivate, that strain of Streptomyces is focused on what? Is both soil and airborne pathogens of mold and disease and mildew. So 70% of the users average with Armory, Actinivate, what have you, always address it and use it as a preventative. Especially later in the year when PM is present. Like, here's a great example, Bob. You're dealing with vegetable gardens, like a lot of people organically have their plants nearby. Your squashes, your zucchinis, your cucumbers that are just, great candidates for mold. Powdering mildew. People are very assertive and aggressive with putting preventative measures down, like, for instance, actinovate or armory for that matter, just to prevent those little spores in the air from landing on the plant and contaminating them.
Okay. So
addressing issues.
So if you were foliar feeding late into, or maybe even if you weren't foliar feeding late into the cycle, if you're outdoors or maybe even indoors, that you would use the armory as a preventative measure for powdery mildew.
Oh, please do. And if you're not, do it. I mean, you're not losing a thing. Remember, with the new armory now, we're doing other things besides the past of just dealing with funguses. And we're not, addressing fungus on our label.
Sure.
But people understand what that streptomyces is designed for. It's really the third generation of actinidate. Saying family owned and run, and hearing it from me, you know what it's for. But it's like kind of like the Photo Plus. It's like a probiotic for the plants, Bob. The plant health, plant stability, nutrient cycling. So we're doing a lot more than just addressing, mold issues, or PM, which is the nemesis, powdery mildew.
Okay. So to recap, if you're growing fruits, vegetables, berries, no issues whatsoever. If you're growing a flower that you're going to consume, you got to worry about some mold issues. Possibly it's it's not the Photo Plus or the Nourish itself. It is the moisture of it. And if you've got that going, you want to have good ventilation. And gosh, you might think about using Armory, even if you're not foliar feeding, because it can help with those powdery mildew situations. Holy moly, we covered a lot.
Game over, Bob. It does a lot.
There you go. Okay. Well, that's that, Carl. Thanks for stopping by and answering the question. I'm hoping you can do this a lot more.
Love to, Bob. Just give me a ring.
Okay. Thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome, Bob. Grow happy.
Okay, that was interesting. I enjoyed that. Carl answered the question, but he also maybe led to some more questions we need to talk about with the ventilation and all that stuff. We'll get into that. Samples. This Microbe Life is some good stuff. I'd like you to try it. So leave a comment in the comments, and randomly we'll pick 4 people out of the comments and we'll send you one of these. So 4 of these samples, the Microbe Life. Thanks to JGP1866 for asking the question. Discounts. OCGFAM.com. All this stuff. Save 20%. Use the discount code OCGFAMShow. That's it. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. For more information about anything on today's show, go to our website, OCGFAM.com. And if you buy anything while you're there, use the code OCGFAMShow. It's going to save you 20%, and it's a lot of fun. The OCGFAM Show, it's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCGFAM Show. See you tomorrow.